I was raised to be good, so good that in the moment I won Miss USA, I felt guilty. As I looked into the crowd where I knew my boyfriend sat, I actually considered giving back the crown. I believed that if I received it, he would suffer. I lived by a rule that said love means that you must deny yourself, and I learned it from my family. My family lived by the old family paradigm where parents put their kids first, their partners next, and themselves last, believing this is love. When I became a wife and mom, I did the same. But I didn't feel very loving. Instead, I got angry. I didn't understand why until I watched my dad die. It was the holidays, and Daddy was really weak when he suddenly collapsed into a chair. I remember looking into his eyes, pleading, "Daddy, I love you. You can't leave." His eyes literally bugged out as he looked back at me. It was as if he was shocked that I loved him and that he was enough. As I reflected on Daddy's life, I realized that he had no forgiveness of himself. He couldn't receive love because he didn't feel worthy of it. And that's when it hit me. I was just like my dad. I knew right then that I had to break this cycle. I said no more and committed to loving myself unconditionally. I began to give myself a voice and express my wants, desires, and dreams without guilt. I let go of the good girl rules and gave myself permission to stand in my truth. I quit trying to win my family's love and approval. Well, wow, everything shifted. The walls between my hubby and me came down. Our kids quit fighting. There was so much more peace and love in our home. I finally got it. Loving myself was the greatest gift that I could give to my loved ones. For over 20 years now, I've been helping women and their families heal. And what I've seen is that the old family paradigm of self-denial teaches us to perform for love and approval and shuts us down to receiving the abundance we all deserve. Why do we continue this cycle? Because of the beliefs we took on during childhood. A group of researchers at the University of the Western Cape in South Africa did a systematic review of over 1,000 studies on the effects of parenting and children's behaviors. They determined that children often internalize their parents' actions, which can then lead to harmful results. Self-denial is a harmful result because as you do this to yourself, you project your pain onto your family. This creates 3 core beliefs that cause our loved ones to suffer and continue the performance. Belief number 1, I am bad. As we parents deny ourselves, we get angry, sad, depressed, you name it. Kids tend to think it's my fault. So a child will grow up with a hidden belief that says, I am bad, I'm the problem. Well, if you believe that you're bad, you're going to work really hard to prove that you're good, or you might settle and not try at all. Belief number 2, I'm not lovable. When we parents deny ourselves and don't forgive and accept ourselves, we try to mold our kids into what we believe is acceptable. Our children grow up believing, I can't be who I am. I'm not lovable. Belief number 3, I don't matter. As we parents continue the performance, we send a message that everyone else's feelings and needs are more important than our own. Our children learn that treating yourself as if you matter is wrong. These 3 beliefs, I'm bad, I'm not lovable, and I don't matter, create one massive belief that sabotages our lives. I can't receive simply for being me. This belief is what drives us so hard. It is why we struggle with relationships, money, and even our health. And it is a key reason we have so much anxiety and depression in our world. The old family paradigm is grounded in guilt and shame. It creates a cycle of lack and unworthiness. So, I'd like to propose a new family paradigm: unconditional self-love. As we parents commit to loving ourselves, we take ownership of our happiness. This stops victim mentality, and an attitude of gratitude takes over in the home. As we forgive and accept ourselves, that acceptance overflows to our loved ones. And as we treat ourselves as if we matter, we finally feel worthy and open up to receive unlimited love and abundance. Emotional chaos slips away, and we begin to listen to our intuition. We get off of the hamster wheel, follow our passions, and share our gifts. We finally feel what we've been seeking all along: peace, love, joy, and fulfillment. Look at our world. Everyone is performing, trying to prove their worth. But others don't determine your worth. You do. You own your worth when you love yourself unconditionally. Unconditional self-love is the key to leading a life that you love. It grounds you in a belief that says, I am enough and I am worthy of receiving love and life's rewards simply for being me. Isn't this what we want for our families? My late husband, Steve, said to me one day, I feel better in my skin than I've ever felt. I asked him why. He said, when you quit caretaking me, Terri, to find yourself, it forced me to find myself, and now I feel better than I've ever felt. I am so glad I gave him that gift before he died. Charlie is my hubby now, and he said to me one day, Terri, I always knew that you loved me, but until you taught me to love myself, I couldn't receive your love, but now I do. And my kids, they are grown now, and I am so happy to say, are committed to loving themselves too. On the night I won Miss USA, I didn't want my boyfriend to suffer. But when I look deeper, my greatest fear is that I didn't want to lose his love. We all want to feel loved, right? But as long as we deny ourselves, we will suffer, and so will our families. Unconditional self-love ends the suffering. Can you imagine what the world would be like if we all lived in this new family paradigm? There would be so much more peace, love, and joy in our lives, in our homes, and in the world. It is not what we do for our families, but how we live our lives that impacts them the most. Thank you.